Yeah. So the fundamental thing, again, is that this is for TV, two-dimensional animation. So even in this software, the Z is not the Z. The Z is coming out at the screen at you. They have like a different sort of way of navigating. And that's really easy to like get around, but it's like when you are importing, this is when it becomes the biggest problem. So step number one, the Z is different because it's like made for TV stuff. Not a big deal. So in this first project, in the first project we're going to be, I'll show you some of the animation techniques today and just get you used to like looking at the screen. And then next class we'll do particle dynamics. That's on Tuesday. Yeah, so on Tuesday we'll do particle dynamics, but I'm going to show you how to import stuff from Rhino, how to do some basic modeling, and how to start assigning gravity and materiality to these things so they start to collide and have real world interactions. So, yes. The first things to sort of understand is where there's like a bunch of files and windows and you're going to get lost, so we'll just plug this in right now. There is a modeling tab. There is this thing called a rigging, which is what you use for sort of skeletons. There's an animation tab. There's an FX tab. Also, the last time I really used this was 2013 maybe, and since then they have changed things. So I just found out where some things were. So there's an FX tab, and that's where a lot of the stuff we're going to be using today. So when you are like trying to do this and I say turn your plane into an end cloth and you're like, where's an end cloth? It is probably because you are clicked into the wrong tab over here. You'll never find it if you never go to FX where there's end cloths. Okay, so then the next thing is it doesn't have that sort of same navigation as Max, but you can like get your window assortment changed over here. So you go from the single view to the quad. Here's your object, so this is essentially your layers, but the same thing as in 3D Max. It's this sort of object pile over here. This is animation, panel layout, and then this is the materials, and I don't even know which one that is. So that's the best way. If you're trying to get back to plan view, you just click on this guy. So when you are going, I actually already did this today and it kind of gets crashy, but that's okay. Oh no, now it's crashing. File, okay. Open, no. So when you want to take something from here into the other program, the best, most robust way to do that is by a OBJ. So I'm going to grab all this and export all this as an OBJ, keeping in mind that then all of this will be one object. So if you want multiple objects, you have to be more strategic about the way you export things. And you can test other things. I think they import DAEs, which might allow you to have like sort of discrete meshes import. But for the most part, this is the way that I've usually done it. It's just being strategic about how I export my OBJs. My teachers again said OBJs were the best. They always worked for me. So file, export selected as an OBJ. And then the only thing you have to be mindful of is mapping. This will be unchecked. You have to check map Rhino Z to OBJY. If you don't, it'll be flipped, and then it will be just annoying to flip it. Check that. Okay. Maybe it's antiquated and they don't need to do it anymore. Anyways, okay, so file, import. Import. And there you go. So there's actually one thing annoying about this, and you guys haven't had any exposure to this during the NURB modeling that you've done so far. Like you didn't model in Max and you guys didn't really have to use this because of what you were doing. There's a thing that in all these sort of animation-based softwares is they are pivot-based. So you almost always have a pivot to something that you are working on. For whatever reason, this pivot is like way off. It will become illuminated when I use these move, rotate, and scale tools. So if I click on move, it's trying to move over here. It's just annoying to sort of have to work this way. So if you ever have an object come in, the pivot is off. And I think essentially this is 0, 0, 0 in Rhino, and it's just associating it with this. You can just go to modify and center the pivot. And occasionally that's a dangerous thing to do because you'll end up centering it somewhere you didn't want it to, but for the most part it works. And now that we have something in here, we can talk about how this is like a very different navigation system. So essentially you're gonna, if you ever wanna move anywhere, you hold down Alt and right click for rotate, orbit rather. And then you can zoom with your scroll or you can like pan with the right mouse button, rotate with the left. So you have to hold Alt down. Sometimes I like start panicking when I open this software and I'm like holding down Shift and then Function and Control, and it's Alt. So just like how I was talking about, this changes everything that's up here. So this menu drop down changes all these titles. These click up new things, which I know that's not anything new to you guys. Rhino does that too. But it's like you kind of have to deal with 2 times as many of them. So it's just important to call out. So again, you can do your curves, you can do your polygons. I am just going to go ahead and grab a polygon. And I'm going to, see, I still can't figure, I always go in and do it wrong. Did I make one P-plane? Okay, so when you click plane, it's just gonna go like there. It's just going to click it right to 0, 0. This used to be a text-based sort of system, so a lot of people still will type through all their commands. But essentially, you grab the whatever you want to put in there, this, and it just hits it towards the middle. And the easiest way to find whatever you're trying to find is to use this window over here. So some of you might be this, but this again is like that 3ds Max, all your objects, it's an object list at best. So I'm just deleting these guys. So now that I have my P-plane, which is what I want, but I want it to definitely be bigger than this. So let's make it, ooh, I don't want it that big. So you can easily use this channel layer editor, which again, why is it like this? Whatever. So you can easily use this to sort of change the value or size in a very specific way. Or, of course, you can use scale. Oops. So can everyone get this far? Not even trying? Not even trying. Fine. So essentially what we're going to do next is I'm going to show you how to do, to change this into colliders. So what I want to simulate in, oops, okay, so this is a good thing. I'm like such a right-click mouse type person that I have accidentally clicked on something in here and I didn't even realize it. Edge, actually. If you ever click on something and you can't get back out, right-click and hit object mode. This becomes really handy when you get used to it, but in the beginning, like especially assigning materials and all this stuff, but in the beginning you're just going to accidentally click on stuff and it's going to get annoying. I don't even know what I just did, but that's actually a really handy tool. Yeah, and it's crashing. Object mode. So you always want to be in object mode if you want to not have everything crashing. So the next thing that I want you guys to be able to do is to make a collider. Make this object stand still and this object fall into this object. So it's very simple. All you do is change the stay still object into a end constraint. So you click on end constraint. Wait. End cloth. Oh yeah. End cloth. Create passive collider. And then you grab your P-plane. This will take a long time to render for my computer, so I'll show you how to do this while I'm done. Then you grab your P-plane, you take it from an end cloth, and then you say create end cloth. Now when I hit play, it's going to start falling. And why do I not have the window that I want? Windows, attribute, editor, grills. Just put this here. There, perfect. So I can hit play now, and while it will take time to render, you can sort of slowly see too far, that it's coming down and it's going to fall and drape over top of this cityscape. Very nice. Exciting, huh? So you need polygon. So it'll disappear because it's underneath. It's right there. So you can either hit move and drag it over. Yeah, very normal. You can scale it up or you can like go for the scales. You can use all those things as letters. Yes. So the piece of fabric, square, is the end cloth, and everything else is a passive collider. So, I mean, if you're crashing, you can just draw primitives. You don't have to use this city right now. So two things that change this. So if you are clicked on your end cloth over here, it's kind of weird, right? So P-plane is the thing we are deforming. The end cloth is also an object, and it has different attributes that you also have to change. So the Rhino to Mayo 2 mesh, which I imported as an OBJ, still exists, but at the same time, the nucleus is also a part of it, and that has to do with the gravity, which we'll talk about later. But N rigid is also a separate attribute. So under the N cloth, you can actually make some pretty wacky changes really quickly. If you're on N cloth and then you click attribute editor, and if you can't find it, because I couldn't find mine also, it's under Windows and then attribute editor. You can go under presets and actually change the sort of behavior of your object. Chiffon's a good one. Honey's a good one. Lava. Silk has not been so impressive. I don't really know why. But then it will ask you what kind of ratio you want it to the material it is right now. So you can sort of custom build these with blends. So while this might seem arbitrary to you, you can generate pretty interesting things based on different sort of presets. And for someone who's trying to animate Shrek, well, you know, it's an easy way to change like the way clothing behaves on the figures, which is again how it is. It's so funny. I imagine Minions and Max and Shrek and Maya. That's the way it is. So that's probably a fun thing to try right now. Is everyone able to do this? Who isn't able to do it? Let's do honey. Okay, so this is something. It's weird. It's the beginning of understanding something. But, you know, everyone used to have these elaborate ways of which they would set up these systems and sort of like let these things play out, and then that was the design. Clearly you can see how you could do a structure and do some form finding skins on this. It does have some interesting implications, but this was sort of like the beginning of that. Stop it. You know, you can always like, I'm gonna delete this thing because I'm over it. But everything is different. But again, I have this like 1, 2, 3 is your 3 ranges of poly softening. So I have this sort of, oops. I can make it like a tissue instead of this, which is almost like a preview. And you can, I think, export them as either one. You just have to bake it effectively, but you don't need to worry about that right now. I think the last project, if you want to 3D print it, then it'll be cool, and yeah, we'll work on that then. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. This is why I did the fashion piece in here. It was easy to model and then switch the thing over. Easy to divide the surfaces and work on specific things. Okay, so there's also, that's one way to do it. We can do different fun things. So I'm just going to move this to the side. What is that? Go away. So let's try some other geometries. Instead, make the ground the collider. End cloth, create a passive collider, and then add all these other crazy geometries to it. So there's actually, I have a point to this, but it will be cool. So you can grab these things and make them also end cloths. End cloth 1, end cloth 2. You can make them solid rubber maybe. And then, oops. Do I have anything for that? Presets. We'll make this one honey again. So good. And now if you play, oops, what? Yeah. So now this one's bouncing a little bit because it's made of rubber. If we had another ball over here, and we gave this an end cloth, and turned it into honey. Okay. I messed up. 120, enter. So now this one's turning into like a blob. This one's bouncing. These two things are both made of honey. And this one's turning into like a blob. That one's just gonna fall over and probably keep rolling until it gets off the platform. Oh, 520. My bad. 120. It's like, why is this taking so long? Okay, so these are both spheres. This one's made of honey. This one's made of rubber. This is also made of honey, yet it just falls and doesn't do anything. So the whole reason that is because of the sort of breakdown of the UVs, which we'll get into the modeling of that later. But you essentially have to have a higher UV count in order to get these. If you want to change that, that would be under modeling and polygons and bevel, nope. Extrude, bridge, reduce number, smooth. Okay, it's under smooth, add polygons to the selected polygon object. And you can add some polygons that way. It just creates a subdivision difference. Dangerous to do this, by the way. It significantly increases your polygon count. But now just after doing that, I can like, well, it'll come around. Meh. Weird. I don't really know. Let me just do this again. Oh, I know it's wrong. still like not broken down enough up there. Whatever. Would never use a cone. And so it's also very easy to start modeling, I think. I mean, it's equally as easy in 3D Max, but your entire navigation is always over here. And with this, it's always on your right click. So you can actually modify face by face. So holding Shift, grab a whole bunch of things, pull it up, grab a whole bunch of things. Oops, selected too many things. Click out into object mode. Again, 1, 2, 3. Oop. You know. Yeah, it smooths it because NURBS is an algorithm that has specific relationships to the curve. It's like a curved surface rather than like point, 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 create surface. That's what Rhino is. And the Rhino, the NURBS in Rhino just aren't that strong.
I love that you can animate wind.
Yes. And particles and fire, I think far easier. So you can paint hair on it. We can go ahead and put water in here. We're gonna work on end particles next time. We can create sort of like secret connections. But yeah. Decrease? Well, it's, oh. Yeah. Wait, that's in Maya too? I haven't done this in a long time. I thought it was in here. UV sets, nope. Where is it? Oh, maybe it's spacebar. Here we go. If you hold down spacebar, you're gonna get all these UV editor. Nope, never seen this before. Wow, I've never seen that before. Add divisions. That's what it is. Spot on. Whoa, no? I thought you like held and... yeah. Edit mesh. See, it's really different from me. When's the last time you used this software? Oh my god, I haven't used it. Merge. Insert edge loop. Yep, okay. Insert edge loop. Thank you, G.A. Andrew. So it's under, to add polygons, it's under, yeah. So basically, it sucks to keep going back up here and change things. So if you hold down spacebar, this is called your hotkeys. And I think it learns as you go. but mesh tools is also under modeling. So to add polygon counts to this, you go mesh tools and insert edge loop. And then it asks you to sort of click in between what you want to add your edge loop to. There is, I did that. There is the sort of like subdivision. I'll go over. Let's go. P-plane. Let's say. Well, this is add polygons. I did it, but that didn't work for the cone. So we would have had to insert them. You would have had to do that because it was changing the bottom, but the top was still like. And you can do like a whole bunch of layers of them. You can have like things, you can turn this into linen cloth and then have it collide into something else, blah, blah, blah. So who needs help? Anyone need help? Anyone has not figured this out yet? Okay, so maybe the city is a dangerous place to start because we're going to use that for particles in a meaningful way for architecture, but I just wanted you guys to get used to it. So I'm gonna upload tutorials